And welcome back. Donald Trump entered the presidential race as the immigration hardliner, promising to deport 11 million illegal aliens. Now, earlier this week, he said he might soften his position. Last night, he further clarified.
I mean, go a step further. They'll pay back taxes. They have to pay taxes. There's no amnesty as such. There's no amnesty.
Right.
But we work with a...
All right, has Trump backed down from his central immigration position? And how are his diehard followers going to take it if he does? And what might it mean on Election Day? Juan Williams joins me, Fox News political analyst and co-host of The Five on the Fox News channel. So is this a reversal? Is this a person who's essentially gone back on his word and now is espousing the opposite of what he initially said?
This is beyond flip-flop.
Okay.
This is something far greater. It's unbelievable because if you think about why Donald Trump did so well in the Republican primary and caucuses, it was largely on the basis of build a wall and we're going to throw them out.
Yeah.
And now he says, no, well, I'm still going to build a wall, he says to some audiences, but to most audiences now, he's softening, as you described it, Kennedy, and saying, oh, no, you can't deport everyone. We don't want to hurt families. That would be so cruel. But we are going to pick the bad ones out and get them out. And we're going to have some kind of deportation commission in order to... And you think, wait. Isn't this what Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, weren't these guys talking... Wait a minute, what about President Obama?
This is the exact same thing that Donald Trump went after Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio so hard on.
Well, that's what I think.
They were not talking about citizenship, and he says this is not amnesty. My question is, and I am definitely a pro-immigration person, what is amnesty? Like, what is the definition of that, and how is this not that?
Well, this is a talk radio concept, and remember, this goes back to '06 with President Bush. President Bush tried to pass immigration reform. He was labeled as offering amnesty to lawbreakers. The idea being that if you come into this country illegally, you've broken the law, whether it's by visa or sneaking across the border, and you should be subject to penalty under law, including deportation. Anything less, amnesty.
Okay. I mean, but amnesty, I think, in his mind, is citizenship. And I agree. I don't think because you come here, you're automatically a U.S. citizen. I think citizenship means something. I think we need to have a lot more visas. I know that's not a popular position right now.
No, but I don't think it's a crazy position, by the way. I think what is realistic, though, is to say that if you come into the country on a visa, which is, by the way that most illegal
people get here,
illegal aliens get here, and so they're flying in, they're not running across the border, that somehow we should enforce that law. I have no problem with that. And you put it, I think, aptly, Kennedy. So given the fact that we need immigrants in this country, something that somehow doesn't come up in Donald Trump's conversations, it acts like we're being generous. But in fact, for economic activity, economic growth, we need immigrants.
Yeah, immigration is a net benefit for this country.
Economically.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ted Cruz is walking around going, I told you so.
He sure is.
And he even said, his communications director said, everything Trump promises comes with an expiration date. We knew it during the primary, and now it is apparent he has duped his most loyal supporters.
Well, you know what's interesting is, according to the newspaper reports, his most loyal supporters say, we didn't really take him that seriously.
Yeah, no, he said his ardent defenders, the people who were with him early on, the ones that I would think would have a problem with this, they really don't.
They don't seem to care. So they seem to trust the idea, oh, well, Donald Trump will do what's right, and, you know, he's a deal maker. And I find this rationalization so puzzling, because in politics, Kennedy, what we know is a person's experience, whether they keep their promises, and we know, in fact, whether there's a history of their keeping those promises. Well, here's Donald Trump right out of the box saying, I'm not going to keep my promise. You're a rube. I'll tell you anything, sweetheart. Watch my fingers. Don't watch, watch my lips, not my hands, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and at some point you have to ask, well, what can I trust him on? You know, what is most important to him? What is one position that he will not change, soften, evolve, modify, whatever you want to call it?
Well, the other part of that is, so he's telling some audiences, oh, I'm going to keep the wall. Don't worry about that. To other audiences, he doesn't mention the wall now. He just mentions the softening. So it's like he's talking out of two sides of his mouth.
But can he make it work for him? I mean, I
so
guess
far, so good, because as we point out...
But not just with people who are hardcore anti-immigration, but what about Hispanics, where he is polling very poorly? Can he make inroads? Is there enough time for them? Will they believe the message that, oh, well, he's not going to kick me out. We're cool now?
rapist, remember that one? Thief,
Yeah.
remember that about that? Remember Judge Curiel, that, you know what, because of his Mexican heritage, even though he's born in Indiana and has been fighting the drug cartel, no, he's Mexican and therefore he can't be fair. I could go on. There is such a lack of a reservoir of goodwill and trust between Trump and the Hispanic community that for Trump's now to be flip-flopping like this and think somehow, so it's not directed at that community, it's directed at Kennedy. That's what I think. I think he wants you to say, well, Trump's not a racist, he's not an anti-immigrant person. Maybe I misunderstood him.
Juan Williams, I love having you on. Thank you very much
for being here. Thank you for having me.
Amen.